Ziggy, Ziggy Media.
Hey, how
How
are
you
you
doing, Lil
doing?
sis? God bless you. God bless you.
Thank you
God
so
bless the
much.
show. Yeah, I see you new out here. You know what I mean? You got your low. So let me ask you a question. What's the topic for the show?
Okay, right now we are talking about the issue that happened in South Africa, where a Zimbabwean black man was killed by local South Africans, being accused of, not having documentation that is being illegal and also being a criminal. So this is what we are talking about. I'm not sure if you came across the video, but it was a very, very gruesome matter where they to burn him alive.
I've heard about such attacks. Um, they're crazy. I sympathize with the brothers and sisters from other countries other than South Africa. Me, myself, I'm FBA. I'm a foundational Black American,
Hmm.
but I consider Africans to be my people as well. And I think it's a shame, I understand both sides. On one side, they don't want immigrants coming into the country, and the government isn't doing anything about it. So that leaves it up to the citizens to enforce the immigration laws there in South Africa. South
Hmm.
Africa is a great country, but it's just not big enough to support everyone. A
Yes.
lot of these immigrants, they take away from the locals that are native or foundational there. Foundational South Africans built South Africa. The infrastructure, everything you see there was built for free on the banks of South Africans, similar to what you have in America with foundational Black Americans. We built everything over
Hmm.
here, so they're gonna feel some type of way about immigrants coming in and not showing proper respect, taking jobs at lower wages, things like that. So as a
Hmm.
result of what I just said, that's why you have what you have here. On the other hand, I can't help but feel bad for my brothers and sisters from the other, mainly from the west coast of Africa that may come there illegally and things like that.
Hmm.
Behind that. But that's the risk you take. I don't. It's a crazy subject. But at the end of the day, I would just say that other Africans throughout the diaspora, man, if you're gonna come to South Africa, just have the proper papers. Just do it the right way. Go about it the legal way. Don't be illegal, and definitely don't go there committing crimes and getting caught up in child trafficking and selling drugs and things like that. Don't do that. Because the South Africans, what this is a message that they're sending. And it's sad that they got to send this to their own brothers and sisters, but I'm not going to put this on the South Africans. At the end of the day, y'all shouldn't be coming there illegal, period. So once you cross them borders illegally, what happened to you is a result of those actions. And that's how I feel.
Okay, so for you, so okay, overall, I hear you. You are saying if you are to go into someone else's country, just have the proper documentation, right?
Correct. Correct, sister. Correct.
Okay, so uh, what about when we look at it on the political side?
On the political side in South Africa, the problem is that the government of South Africa, they're not enforcing these immigration laws the way they should. And the problem for that on the political side is that the corporations, the big corporations out there in South Africa, they support immigration because it benefits them. They get to pay people lower wages. They get to deny people proper health care. They get to deprive people union dues, overtime, everything that comes with working a job when you coming in as an immigrant from a worse place where you don't even get that. The corporations, so the corporations is the ones making generate most of the money, and they the ones paying off the politicians that have it their way. So they're allowing immigrants to come in there. But that puts South African natives in a position where not only do they gotta go at the politicians and let and put them in place, but they got to go at the immigrants too that's coming in there being disrespectful, because they're not going to be overran in their home country. It's just not going to happen. So, to demonize the South African people and say, oh, they're xenophobic and this, that, and the third, I think that's unfair. It's not a xenophobia. You can't come in here child trafficking. You can't come in here setting up drug dens. You can't, we just not gonna tolerate that. And either you respect it or you don't. Now, if you got people doing that and something happened to them, I'm telling you, that's on them. You had no business coming in there illegally and doing all that in the first place. You thought it was sweet. So in the government, like I said, the corporations encourage immigration. We have the same thing in America. We got all kind of Latinos, Nigerians too, all kind of people just crossing, coming into America, and what they bring is a very negative element. First of all, they thirsty. They come from a failed culture. They ain't got nothing popping where they at, so they come here with that negative cutthroat mentality,
Mm.
and they lump them in with us. They just lump them in with us. So you might hear about some shit that happened in New York and not even realize that was, yeah, it was a black person, but it was a black immigrant. But
Okay.
they'll just automatically say this is just black American. No, we're not standing for that. So, hey, man, it is what it is. Just don't go there with the bullshit. And if you're going to go there, make sure you got your papers right. Bottom line.
Okay.
South
So
Africans ain't playing.
okay, so in other ways, you are supporting, you are supporting the activities of the local South Africans who are saying, we don't want any illegal immigrants in our country. You need to go. So you are in support of what they are doing, right?
Yes, completely, 100% in support of what they do.
Oh, while we understand what you're saying, that you are supporting what the South Africans are saying, that illegal immigrants should, but the problem will that is there is now, the issue of violence. Okay, the issue of violence on on foreigners, targeted on foreigners only, in particular Zimbabweans. That is the issue that we are having now. So what's your comment on that?
I mean, the violence is terrible. I hate it. I don't want to see black people killing black people. I don't want to see South Africans killing Nigerians and people like that. Notice this though. South Africans don't really get into it with people from Zambia, or different countries like that out there in Africa. So it depends. But when you come in there with a opportunistic mentality, you're only looking to exploit. You're only looking to get what you can get for yourself and your own immediate family. I can't fault South Africans. I can't fault the violence that I'm seeing. I can't be mad at the violence that I'm seeing because you're coming in there with ill intent. You clearly see that you coming in here illegally is causing damage. You're taking away opportunities. You're hurting the people that are from there, that are foundational of that place. And I can't fault the violence. Yes, the violence. I don't like to see one black man kill another black man, burning them up like that. But you talking about black men that's coming in there selling drugs, trying to child traffic and things like that. Like, come on, and
Okay,
I
I
see
understand. Now, also, there's been some issues like, local South Africans are saying foreigners are taking away our jobs. But when we look closely, we are finding that foreigners are doing, menial jobs. They are gardeners, they are, restaurant workers. So people are saying, what kind of jobs, are the people, or are foreigners taking away from South Africans? What kind of jobs? Because there are no jobs already.
well, you have jobs in South Africa that require some kind of skill, and it doesn't have to necessarily be a cashier at AMP or ShopRite. I know ShopRite is big out there. Every job is not a cashier or a taxi driver or something like that. There are jobs that's considered menial, but it's middle class, like being a butcher, jobs like being a chef. There's different jobs out there, and it's not even about them taking the jobs. It's just the fact that when you come here, you drive the wages down. The menial jobs that I people live off of, yes, we take those jobs. Some of us take those jobs. We might be young when we take it and move up in life and get bigger and better jobs where we become more skilled in a different trade or something. But we start off taking those jobs. So, it's just like in Harlem, where I'm from. I'm from Harlem, New York City, right? When I was a kid, kids, when I was about 10 years old, kids could go to the supermarket and pack bags for money. I noticed
Mm,
that with the
mm,
influx of immigrants, you had grown ass immigrants, Mexicans,
mm,
Dominicans, grown ass immigrants, Mexicans,
mm,
Dominicans, Ecuadorians, packing bags. These are grown ass men. You're taking the job of a 10-year-old, but you don't give a
okay.
fuck because you're coming from a place where ain't nothing popping. You're starving. You don't have, it's fucked up. I get it. It's fucked up.
Mm,
What I
mm,
don't like
mm,
is when you come over here and you turn your nose up at us and say that we're lazy and we're this, that, and the third, and you try to shame us.
yeah.
That's what I
Okay.
don't like.
Now
So
I
you're not
understand
just
that.
you're not just coming over here taking jobs,
Mm,
but you're coming over here showing vitriol toward
mm,
us.
mm. Yeah, also there's been some issues of why there are, that accusations rather that these South African locals, they only fight poor people. They just fight those people that they are on their reach, but they don't really go and fight like the big drug lords who are in the on the flashy suburbs like the Sandton areas. They just go and fight these poor, helpless people. So what's your comment on that?
I tell them to make up their mind. One minute we're reading in the newspaper how the South Africans then took over South Africa and they treating the white people like shit. And the whites then became poor. And then the next minute I'm hearing about how the South Africans don't want to fight against the whites and the people that's really controlling and dominating everything. Make up your mind. Which one is it gonna be? Because just a minute ago, y'all was talking about how the locals in South Africa forced the government to give them land that rightfully belonged to them. South Africans have fought for reparations and shit. They good. Y'all all up in South African people business, and they actually doing good, a lot better than y'all. Get y'all shit in order. So no, when people try to say that South Africans are cowards and they only want to fight other blacks, I think that's bullshit. That's the same stigma they try to put on foundational Black Americans. When we the reason why you have immigrants of color, whether they be African or Latino or whatever, East Indian, Filipino, we the reason why they able to come here because we fought. So which one is it gonna be? Oh, we complain too much, or we passive and don't complain at all. You're not gonna run that bullshit on us. The South Africans, I respect them because they're very similar to FBA in the sense that they do complain. They will raise their voice when something get crazy and they don't like it. They're not gonna be in a situation where they don't have fresh water and things like that. No, they're gonna make sure the government provide that for them. So I give them their props on. I don't believe that South Africans just attacked other black people. That's bullshit. They've been fighting the balls for years. Come on, let's keep it real.
Okay, but still, when we look at the situation that is happening in South Africa, we do have like these groups, that are involved in what is happening in the fight against illegal immigrants. But again, we are seeing that it seems like these groups are divided among themselves. Others are saying, well, let's leave, foreigners, let's work together, let's be one. And another group is saying, well, we don't want foreigners, we don't want these illegal immigrants and this and that. So we even them South Africans themselves, they are divided among themselves when it comes to this topic. You understand? So again, it
Hmm.
brings us to ask like which is which.
Well, that's where me and you differ. I'm FBA, you're South African, right? You're foundational South Africans. I'm foundational Black American. Where we differ at is the fact that you're the majority in your country and we're the minority in ours. The country that we built and was the foundation of everything, the whole culture. You think of the traffic light, that comes from foundational Black Americans. You think of the train station, the third rail, that comes from us. The light bulb, that comes from us. All the music genres, you just think of it, anything coming out of American culture was we the foundation of, and we built this country. Same thing with South Africans. The only difference is that you guys are the minority. I mean, you guys are the majority, and we're the minority. So you outnumber the whites. So what you guys got to do is get on code and realize that you got to be a little bit selfish. You got to worry about yourself. You got to put yourself first. But you guys are the majority over there, and that's the difference between you and me. Y'all got to get on code, man, and do what y'all got to do for yourselves. I really don't have much of an opinion on that because that's a South African
Mm.
affair.
But you see, when you come to think of it, when you come to look close, you find that the issue of immigrants, especially those coming from Zimbabwe, has been there for decades. The government of South Africa is done really, at one time they even offered, special permits for only Zimbabweans, of which some of these permits they're still running up until now, and but they've said they're not going to be renewing those permits, which means by the end of this year, this is the grace period that Zimbabwean, people have been given to change to other types of visas. So you can see that even South Africa itself had accommodated Zimbabweans, coming into there because of the Zimbabwean economic problems. But again, South Africa has the voice, South Africa has the voice to condemn, to condemn what was happening
Well,
in Zimbabwe. But they
like I
said
told
nothing.
you,
In
sis.
actual fact, they accommodated Zimbabweans into South Africa without condemning the real problem, without speaking against the real problem. So this is another issue again.
Like I told you, sis. That goes back to what we were speaking on earlier. It's the corporations. One of the largest corporations in South Africa, which has stores like you got restaurants and shit. It's all under ShopRite. A lot of them. So you have these corporations. The corporations, they're the people that come to South Africa and build industry for people to get jobs and work. It helps build the economy, right? Y'all great. Y'all got that on lock in Africa. But the problem is, y'all got that on lock in Africa. But the problem is, the corporations benefit off of workers that are immigrants. They don't have to pay them as much. They don't have to respect their rights. They're illegal. They're practically invisible. They prefer them over you. What y'all can't do is allow that to happen in your country. So what you got to do is put pressure on your government, which in turn is going to have to put pressure on the corporations that control them because they're being controlled by the corporations and the money that the corporations generate. It's a reason why you got, ShopRite and Woolworth is a big industry out there and all these different places you dig. So y'all gotta put that's what we do in America. When we get on code, when we want something, we get on code. All of us together, we get on code, and we just don't we won't vote or we won't do this or we just don't participate, and then we'll wail out too, and that put pressure on them because they need us. These
Yeah.
politicians, they need y'all vote. They need it. They need your support. Without y'all support, everything will fall apart. So y'all just got to get on code and get them to do what y'all want them to do. And they just gonna have to break bread. Period. You know what I mean? So you should push that more for
Okay.
South Africans to get on code. And the immigration thing is a perfect thing to get on code on, just to get all of y'all on page as one, because that's something that
Okay.
affects all of y'all.
Okay, I'll ask you one more question. There has been talk, by all these groups about one Africa, open borders. Let's open the borders. Let's all be free to move freely in Africa because Africa is for us all. What do you think about the, open borders?
That's not a good idea, man. You guys, we can do what we can for you, but we're not just gonna let you. Look, Africa is tribal as hell. So all this kumbaya talk, We all one people. We all the same. Blah blah blah. Listen, we're all tribal. We all have the same DNA and ancestry, but we're different groups at this point. My people been in America for over 500 years. I don't know nothing about Africa culturally. I'm just keeping it real. The only thing we have in common is skin color. So all this, no, you're gonna hold your own nuts. I'm not gonna hate on you or try to undermine you, but at the same time, I can't be the only one that's making money and doing it, and everybody else is broke and fucked up, and it's my responsibility because we all look the same. It's my responsibility to feed and take care of everybody. Hell no, things don't work that way. You're gonna have to hold your own nuts because what's gonna happen if you have that mentality, and this is what happened to FBA, people will come in and take advantage of that, and then they will become entitled, and they'll feel like, hey, whatever's given to a South African should be given to me, even though I'm not a South African. No, nigga, you did not build this country. This has nothing to do with you. We looked out for you. We did what we could. Take that and be happy. Like no, that whole kumbaya thing. Oh, we all African. That's cool. Yeah, we are. We should respect each other. If we all African, why you want to immigrate into South Africa as an illegal immigrant and undermine me? If we're all brothers, come on, man, get out of here with that.
Okay, so you are against the open borders, the one Africa, okay? Anyway, I'm just going to read for you a comment by someone here. Daughter of the Soil says, in America, do you burn people alive because they are undocumented? Let's not minimize such ruthless crimes. Maybe have a good background to the story first before condoning evil. They went on to say, America and South Africa are different ball games. Don't project your experiences onto South Africa. The land issue and white monopoly capital are a real contention in South Africa.
This my response to that would be there was some illegal people from Colombia. They came into America illegally, right? A whole family of them. They decided to set up a drug cartel in
Mm,
Queens, New York. They were selling drugs illegally. They were
mm,
working with Americans. There was money involved. But eventually, that whole Colombian family that was operating out of Queens got murdered
mm.
cold heartedly, viciously, children, people. This is the results of illegal activity. It wasn't nothing the government could do about it. You asking me, is South Africa, what you're basically asking me is South Africa as, when it comes to the people, as stable as America? America is a little different. You said that. America is a little different. America is mostly white. South Africa is mostly black. There's a different dynamic there. Mostly black. There's a different dynamic there. If America was mostly foundational black Americans and you had immigrants coming over here doing things that we didn't like, I think you would have the same results. The people will go that far. I don't, and for you to see one incident like that and to say, oh, that's all South Africans, I think you're making a grave mistake. That's not all South Africans. Most South Africans probably sympathize with you and wouldn't partake in that. But the bottom line is the dude was illegal. What was you doing there? Period. What was you
Oh.
doing there?
It's quite interesting, eh? Anyway, we just want to end here. I've been here for an hour now. Before we go, I just want to ask you, like, what do you think can be the lasting solution to this problem? Okay, without being violent, without killing each other, what could be the lasting, solution to this problem that South Africa is facing right now? And looking at the activities that are happening now of people being asked to move around with an ID, whether you're South African or not, and also to be moving around with your passport.
Yo, just Don't go to South Africa unless you have your shit in order. Have your papers in order. Don't be illegal. Don't illegally go to South Africa. And that's it. That's the bottom line. If you come there illegally, there should be a warning put out to all illegals that look, you might come here and prosper like you dream of. You might be a good person, great, cool. But there's also a chance that if you come here illegally, understand that you're breaking the law and there will be consequences behind that. And anything can happen to you. And ain't nobody gonna boo-hoo and none of that because you shouldn't have been there if you came there illegally. If you came there illegally, you shouldn't have been there, period. So something happened to your ass for coming there illegally, that's on you. You gonna have to deal with that. You gonna have to eat that. That's life in a nutshell. That's the way life works. Every responsible adult understands that. Some people they take the gamble, they take the risk.
Mm.
But if the risk don't pay off, you can't blame nobody but yourself.
Okay. So, what's your take on on mob justice?
I think the government should get more involved in immigration and just keep immigrants legally out of it. You know what I mean? Period. And it's not just African immigrants. You got a lot of Chinese immigrants that get
Mm-hmm,
arrested in
mm-hmm.
South Africa and deported back to China. They just don't play with the immigration shit. Like, have your papers in order. But as far as the justice, I believe Africans need more reparations in South Africa. They need more reparations from the government. And also, they need to clamp down on that whole immigration thing. Increase the wage. That's going to increase the wages on jobs. I think they need more unions in South Africa. With things, if you're a South African, period. If you're a South African, you get certain things from the government. I
But
think
of
all of
course,
that should
okay.
be in order.
Okay, so my question again is, now that we are seeing that in every society there's a weaker group that can be easily targeted, and another group might be there, but but hidden, right? In this case, Zimbabweans are the most vulnerable. Zimbabweans are the most, open. So now we're saying, why is it that the focus is only on, for example, Zimbabweans, and the locals are not going to Chinatown to move around asking every Chinese everywhere. They say, show us your passport, show us your identity. Those are some of the issues that people are raising. Like, why are you just targeting a certain people?
I mean, if that's going on, that's fucked up. And that's something that South Africans are going to have to handle and deal with on their conscience. But you still got to remember that you in their country. But yeah, I think that's something that South Africans as a collective should look at and maybe deal with in a better way. But the bottom
Yeah.
line is you still in somebody else's country. You don't know, like, if you come into my territory and you Chinese and opposed to you being African, right? Like if the Chinese dude come in my territory and he do it respectfully, he's legal and he's giving me paper and and everything is working out right to the point, and he like, yo, can look, it's gonna work out different. You just can't come over here all janky and shit any kind of way. I don't care who you are. It just don't work like that. And a lot of Africans, they just feel entitled in a lot of
Mm.
cases. Just because they African, I'm just entitled. You don't know what the Chinese nigga did. So don't even compare yourself to the Chinese dude because you don't even know how he got over there, how that worked out,
But
opposed to
then,
you.
how are we going to know? How are we going to know if no locals are going there to check? The same way that they're checking on Zimbabweans, how are we going to know that the Chinese are doing what ABCD, you know? And yet they're only, focusing on Zimbabweans.
I mean, like you just arguing the wrong cause all the way. First of
Mm.
all, you fled from Zimbabwe. You ain't got no, you can't say shit. You don't have a say so on what goes on in South Africa. You have a say so in Zimbabwe. If South Africans was fleeing to Zimbabwe and y'all was treating them like that, but you don't see that. There's no South Africans in Zimbabwe. So I mean, you really don't have a case.
I
If
understand.
that's what they choose to do, that's what they choose to do. You in their country, dude.
Okay.
They're not in Zimbabwe. And it's not, I'm not trying to disparage Zimbabwe. I'm pretty sure that's a great country, but they're not in, and so you don't see a lot of South Africans fighting to live in Zimbabwe. But you see a lot of people from Zimbabwe fighting, trying to live in South Africa. That's the difference. You got to, you can't get around that.